Previously on Combat School, the ultimate round of war games kicks off for soldiers heading to Afghanistan.
Today, we will be entering your village in order to capture or kill all insurgents.
Before they hit the real battlefield, they have to prove themselves here, a virtual, high-tech Afghanistan, where Big Brother records their every move and every deadly mistake.
We're all dead now.
They just got a little too close.
The Battle of Tanachoy has drained them of soldiers and supplies, and Big Brother's bad guys are still on the move. Tanachoy, a mock Afghan village in Wainwright, Alberta. Everything looks calm today. So far, no sign of the Taliban insurgents, run out of town in yesterday's battle. Soldiers from Mike Company stay in the village to help restore order.
My intent definitely is to provide a bit of security and assistance to the village of Tanachoy.
Nearby, the 40 men of Mike Company's 1 platoon regroup after a rough 3 days. Just before the siege of Tanachoy, platoon commander Captain John Cox had to leave on a family emergency. Warrant Officer Bruce Rodenizer stepped up to lead the platoon, right into a minefield.
I just got killed. Holy f***.
I'm dead.
I saw him yesterday.
But in training, mistakes are forgiven, and the dead come back to life.
I rather enjoyed myself being dead. It was excellent. The afterlife's great. Coming back here sucks though, but you know, the afterlife's good.
It always sucks when you make a mistake because then after you're going to hear about it from the guys.
Say we're the platoon that makes the most mistakes out of everybody. I don't know why. OC doesn't like that too much.
The OC, Mike Company's officer commanding, Major Cale Oberworth.
All one is facing is some adversity, and you know what? This is going to make them better in Afghanistan.
For the next round of war games, 1 platoon will be separated from the rest of the company.
All right, we're rolling. We're getting out of here.
Oberworth's been ordered to send 1 of his 4 platoons on a remote security detail. It's a lousy job, but somebody has to do it. And without their leader, 1 platoon has been the weakest link. Now, Oberworth has to figure out how to work shorthanded.
It might be a bit of a slow day for us today, providing we don't actually get attacked by the Taliban here.
But there's no such thing as a slow day around here.
9 Roger, can you give me a sit rep on the ground from your 19 over?
A Taliban attack is exactly what the trainers are plotting.
Might be worthwhile just to chuck something a little bit more suspicious in every once in a while. We don't want to be too overt, but...
Throw it right in their face?
Yeah?
Big Brother's bad guys are planning something more covert today. The enemy could be anyone and anywhere.
Extra 1 Delta, this is Alpha 1 over.
Can you confirm what's over?
Well, it's an honor to meet you. I'm John.
In Tanachoy, the mullah and the mayor have been coached to request a meeting, or shura, with the soldiers. After yesterday's attack on the village, it's a test of the troops' diplomatic skills.
I understand the ANA was in the town. They accidentally drove over the grave on the east side of the village, and we want to get them to apologize.
But the attempted damage control is interrupted. Now, civilians are trying to push past the soldiers to the inner circle.
Please explain to them that we're here to help you and to please calm down.
It's all part of Big Brother's grand plan. As the soldiers try to maintain order, a mock suicide bomber detonates the explosives strapped to his chest. The Afghan role players panic convincingly.
Okay, if you're walking wounded, make your way over this compound.
The high-tech weapons effects simulation system kicks in.
Are you injured?
Infrared sensors in everyone's vests detect the blast. And individual computers reveal the injuries.
Critical wound, lifetime remaining, 30 minutes.
Injured? Critically wounded, 2 criticals. Dead?
A training officer helps decipher the data. The casualties are massive. A few kilometers away, Major Oberworth is forced into action. He doesn't have nearly enough resources to handle so many dead and injured.
100 quick sit rep. I understand that you know about the ID contact in the village of Tanachoy. I'm currently putting together a small force package to go to Tanachoy to assist with the battle space management. More to follow over.
This is all Oberworth has left to send. A Bison ambulance and a few other vehicles. Better than nothing, but not enough to evacuate so many casualties. Oberworth could really use 1 platoon right now. But they're on the road to exile.
Where we going, Palmer? What are we going there for?
Turn that up! That's what we're doing.
Guard duty at a remote forward operating base isn't what these guys signed up for.
Inside this camp, I'll just situate you to the ground. North is in that direction there. South behind me. West and to the east.
Orientation feels a bit like scout camp.
Okay, that's the cook's tent. There's the main kitchen tent.
They'll be here indefinitely, protecting the perimeter of the base.
I don't have no cots. You have to bring them with you. If you didn't bring them with you, that's the life of it, you know what I mean?
Let me show you my crib. That right there behind me, that's the luxury front door. Oh, there's one of my roommates right there.
And we're gonna be here for a few days doing camp security and QRF, which is not sweet.
Bitch detail.
Bitch duty. Mornings like this, it can be pretty dull.
Back in the village, the chaos continues.
8 VSA.
And at the trainer's headquarters, another kind of drama for Big Brother. They think they've found a glitch in today's war game.
I think we got a technical issue here. I think we got a technical issue. I don't.
Keystone in the center of the village. From there, just keep moving east on Keystone.
Oberworth and his sergeant major are overwhelmed by the scale of the catastrophe.
That's definitely a great big mass CAS.
They think they have upwards of 40 CAS.
Right, sir.
They try to redirect 2 helicopters that are flying near Tanachoy.
2 of them right there. Exactly. Anything that flies can be converted to call casualties like that.
But their bosses have other plans for those helos.
Holy They think we might have to do this all by ground.
If that's the case, it ain't pretty.
Oberworth's running out of options when suddenly a reprieve from out of the blue. Much of the carnage turns out to be accidental overkill. The suicide bomber's signal triggered dozens of vests,
1, 2, 3, 4.
causing a catastrophic amount of damage, way more than Big Brother intended. The trainers decide to pull out their secret weapon, the God Gun. With the squeeze of a trigger, they can reverse everyone's fortunes.
4 civilian casualties, 1 Canadian, and that's it.
Roger that.
1-4, Roger. Our latest casualty count is now 5. Over.
5.
From 40 casualties to 5. Good news for Major Oberworth. His small convoy of vehicles will be enough after all. In Tanachoy, the casualties are loaded up. Oberworth will have to recharge quickly. Big Brother's bad guys have already put another disaster in motion.
Any indication from the chopper as to what brought it down? Was it under fire at the time, over?
After yesterday's suicide attack in Tanachoy, Mike Company could use a breather. The past few days have stretched Major Oberworth and his men to the limit. But there's no rest in real war. So Big Brother's making sure the rehearsal is just as relentless.
X-ray 0, Bravo, this is X-ray 1. Acknowledge last from Alpha 1, over.
4 kilometers away, the trainers are set to ignite a new chain of events. The scenario: an American helicopter has crashed while transporting an important Taliban detainee.
Bit of contact. 1-2.
1-2.
Major Oberworth mobilizes his men.
Our helicopter's gone down at grid 0145 3881. I'll have you mount up with your whole platoon and head down there.
His mission: secure a helicopter landing zone so an extraction team can remove the Taliban detainee. Within minutes, 2 platoon is on its way to the crash site. Meanwhile,
Right, so basically,
Big Brother's bad guys add final touches to their scenario before Oberworth's men arrive.
We've had an explosion inside the cockpit where one guy's been burnt and this sort of stuff. They can still call their position. The aircraft is still flyable, but the crew cannot fly it.
Makeup has turned the role players into convincing burn victims. The pilot is VSA, vital signs absent. This man will play the Taliban detainee who survived the crash.
Remember, you guys have come in at a high rate of knots. You're shaken up. I mean, your brain pan has been rattled something fierce.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, let's clear it.
At the Mach Kandahar airfield, Oberworth's boss is also being tested by Big Brother.
So this is the half troop that's going to be right here.
That's right, sir.
They're still there.
No, they're en route now.
They're keeping close contact with the team that's flying to the crash site to extract the detainee. At the same time, they're coordinating with Major Oberworth as his platoon secures the landing zone.
1-2 will secure that.
They don't know yet what caused the crash. If it was enemy fire and not mechanical failure, the insurgents could be lying in wait. Oberworth's men cordon off a landing zone. And the extraction team swoops in. This soldier's mission: grab the detainee and tell the others help is on the way. If any insurgents are watching, they're holding their fire.
3-1, this is Griffin 4. Griffin 4, we just departed the site. We have the guy on board, but just be advised, it's 5 casualties, over.
Now, Major Oberworth has to find a way to transport the 5 remaining crash victims to Kandahar Airfield.
1-9er, if I have to ground evac to CAF, it means I need to have enough empty vehicles to achieve that. Over.
And he's short on manpower. 2 platoon is supposed to stay at the crash site to guard the downed chopper. 4 platoon, call sign 1-4, is still guarding the village of Tanachoy. 1-3 is on a resupply mission. And then there's 1 platoon. Out of the action altogether.
I need some action in my life.
I was on gate from 2 to 6, and now it's 10:30 and I'm back on gate.
Oh, vehicle! He saw me and my weapon and just kept on rolling.
Back home, their platoon commander, Captain John Cox, is a lot happier than he was a few days ago. The emergency complications with his fiance's pregnancy are in check. But by now, it's too late to rejoin his platoon in Wainwright.
I don't like leaving the guys in the field because they're there, and I want to go through the training with them as their platoon commander. But at the same time, it's good for the platoon because they're actually out there now experiencing what it's going to be like without me there.
Cox's men are hoping this isn't what it's going to be like from now on.
Being the gay bitch sucks, man. I didn't come to America to wash dishes.
2 platoon, on the other hand, is right in the action.
I want to 1-2. I've got the security set around the crash site.
They've moved in to take care of the wounded.
I'm coming around the other side, brother.
Okay, medics on the way, guys.
Joe's 1-9er.
Meanwhile, Oberworth is still trying to confirm exactly what caused the crash.
Any indication from the chopper as to what brought it down? Was it under fire at the time, over?
His men are about to find out the hard way what and who brought the chopper down. Oberworth has lost radio contact with Kandahar Airfield.
Get everyone ready to move.
He decides to move to higher ground to get a better signal.
Roger, we're going to change locations. I'm not happy with the cause we have from here.
He's barely started rolling when an ominous message comes through.
Break. 1-2 is 100. Need to be prepared. The enemy is going to try and clear the field. Be prepared for an attack, over.
Major Oberworth's racing cross-country. He's just received intel that the enemy's about to ambush his soldiers.
Tango 1 Force 1-9er. It looks like call sign 1-2 might be under imminent attack.
He reroutes a tank for extra muscle.
You move north to link up with call sign 1-2.
And heads toward the crash site. Meanwhile, 2 platoon hustles to load up casualties.
Got 1, 2, 3, left.
Up on the ridge, an insurgent takes aim.
Contact.
2 platoon answers back with the mounted C6 machine gun. The platoon has been ordered to guard the chopper until Oberworth arrives. But now their vehicles are filled with the critically injured. The platoon leader makes the call. Leave the chopper. Evacuate the wounded.
X-ray 1, looks like I've still got one call sign on site. Oh, no, they're moving now, so they're leaving this area, and the helicopter's still in location.
The chopper's left undefended for a full 20 minutes. A sitting duck for the enemy until Oberwerth arrives. Now he has to secure the crash site all over again until the chopper can be recovered.
Have you got eyes on that to contact off to our Westover?
He's worried about what he can't see on the other side of the ridge.
One under, I have my own MUAV that I'd like to put up. See if we can get a little more definition on that. Out.
The MUAV, a mini unmanned aerial vehicle, is a sophisticated little surveillance plane. Battery operated, GPSed, and remote controlled.
And don't crash a pad or you're fired.
Working the MUAV is tricky. The more practice these guys get, the better. But before they get it airborne,
there's a vehicle coming.
A potential threat rolls over the ridge.
All I want to do is define this vehicle target coming directly towards us in order to keep her distance.
After months of training, this should put every soldier on high alert. In the real war, truck bombs pack a deadly punch.
Sergeant Major! Don't go inside the cordon, just stay here. Don't let them get too close.
There's a fine line between caution and overreaction.
Out of the vehicle!
These soldiers play it right. Turns out the truck belongs to a local villager, guilty of nothing but curiosity.
We have to resist the temptation to live in fear while we're over there. Not everyone, in fact, the majority of the people in Afghanistan are not hostile, and as such, those are the people whose hearts and minds are trying to win. So we need to be very careful.
Ready for takeoff! Deploy!
The MUAV won't be collecting any intel on this exercise.
It's broken to me.
Too bad, because Oberwerth was right to worry about the other side of the ridge.
There's still something up there.
Where more insurgents are taking fire positions.
Go through with us. One under how long before your rounds in the air over? Okay, find the target. You're on. Fire.
You killed them.
Okay. One under the targets that we were engaging have been destroyed.
The exercise is over. In the after-action review, Oberwerth is hard on himself.
Obviously, I should have assumed that this aircraft was brought down by gunfire. So had I thought more about it, what I would have done most likely is just group the whole remainder of the combat team and move here en masse together, which would have made it a little bit easier for us to deal with the situation.
If Oberwerth had gone to the crash site at the same time as 2 platoon, the soldiers and the chopper would have been less vulnerable.
As it turned out, 1-2 came in, they did a fine job, coordinated, and were able to get out. But this time they were lucky, maybe next time not so lucky.
He's got no idea just how soon those words will come true. In the next battle, his luck will run out.
I can kill him.
Oh, shoot him!
At Mike Company's base camp, a rare moment of peace for Major Oberworth.
Okay, I think I can manage the battle and shave at the same time. There we go. Yeah. It's good because we're short on water, so we're just going to be short on batteries next. And when that happens, short on batteries and on water, then we're doomed.
Good thing Mike Company's resupply convoy is only minutes away.
My convoy is currently just south of your leaguer.
Okay, I need 3 boxes and a flat of water over here. I'll take care of the guns.
Oberworth Sergeant Major Kevin Donovan doles out the rations.
Okay, get me Sunray Minor 1-3. I got rations and water for him. Don't worry, after eating this for a week or so, they're all the same.
That, sir.
Right? Hey, get out of here. Don't be stealing any more water. Tanks, come on forward.
In war, one thing is more important than food and water.
Ammo's priority. Food comes second.
The boss has gotten rid of his 5 o'clock shadow, but he's far from ready for his next battle.
Kind of working through a series of different machinations in my head right now, so I am a bit lost.
Meanwhile, at one platoon's outpost, the only thing casting a shadow is a groundhog. And Corporal Sam Miranda, with too much time on his hands.
Today's special edition is on the prairie dog. They can get very obnoxious at this time of the day.
But for the men of one platoon, dog days on the prairie are about to end. An IED has exploded a few kilometers away. They've been ordered to respond, and fast.
Bravo, headquarters, and then Charlie.
To get the whole platoon out again and to do an operation or a mission, it's good for everyone's morale.
The platoon's mission: guard the bird dogs of the battlefield. Like the RSD Husky, a monster of a mine detector. Big Brother's trainers have planted a mock IED somewhere on the road ahead.
So if they don't do the drills properly and if they don't detect them, they'll blow up.
In the real Afghanistan, IEDs are the enemy's most effective weapon and a rookie soldier's worst nightmare.
I go through like scenarios in my head. Like, okay, I'm sitting in the back of the lab, we're rolling, boom. Just blood everywhere. I dismount the back of my lav, and my heart's going. It's like 185 beats per minute. And I'm like coming out like a hummingbird, looking around, and I see people rolling out of it on fire. You know, and I'm like.
These machines are supposed to prevent nightmares from becoming real.
Taliban would love destroying these vehicles, and so they're very important to us that we keep them because they get a lot of hits and they find a load of IEDs.
So far, nothing has exploded in the Husky's path. But Warrant Rodenizer, the platoon's acting commander, doesn't like the look of the road up ahead. It's hemmed in by trees. Good ground for an enemy ambush. Rodey's men should be hyper-vigilant, but slacking off at the forward operating base has dulled their edge.
Hey, ramp up. Hey, ramp up. Get the ramp up, boy.
If they can't hustle to protect themselves, there's no hope they can defend the $1 million mine detectors.
Remedial school. Okay, check. Cover form, extended line, sweep it through.
Rhodey's yelling seems to do the trick. Suddenly, one platoon is looking sharp.
You find anything down there, Valentine?
Down the road, the Husky's sensors sniff out something suspicious.
Okay, gentlemen, have you guys move back here, please? No problem.
Now, the Buffalo takes over, probing with its giant robotic arm.
Picked up a couple of wires there. As soon as we see the wires, pull back, get the hell out of there.
Did everybody get that? You found the pressure plate on the road?
The engineers huddle. They decide to send in a robot and watch from a safe distance as it detonates the IED. This drill has boosted the confidence and vigilance of one platoon.
You can't drop your guard for an instant. If that one time you drop your guard and get too complacent, it's the time you're going to be either on a stretcher or something even worse.
Meanwhile, the rest of Mike Company is gearing up for another battle.
Areas of interest for the insurgents right now, these 3 buildings here.
Major Oberwert's target will be the village of Jandar, an enemy stronghold.
We were being told there's mostly insurgents in the village, which leads us to believe that we might actually, instead of cordoning off the area, we might actually get ourselves into a bit of a fight ahead of time.
That fight will be a lot more deadly than he has bargained for.
Let's get ready to fight, get ready to fight.
I can kill him.
Oh, shoot him!
Get your heads down, I got calf.
Major Cale Oberwert's kicking into high gear for his next battle. Tomorrow, he'll lead Mike Company into the mock village of Jandar, an insurgent stronghold. The mission: locate a hidden weapons cache and destroy it.
You're going to see very easily the very prominent is the mosque.
He's seen aerial surveillance of the place.
Okay, I'll take the lead. Keep your spacing and low profile.
But there's nothing like an on-the-ground recce to get a feel for the terrain.
Mosque here, the walled compound here.
Oberwert's intel says the weapons cache is about 250 meters south of the mosque.
They haven't made it easy for us, the bastards.
He'll have to isolate the village from the weapons and be prepared for a fight.
They're saying it's 15 to 20 insurgents, no civilians.
Last-minute intel is delivered in person by one of Oberwert's bosses, Major Mark St. Eve.
There may, in fact, be a town there, like people that are living there that are going to move back in.
In case there are any innocent villagers, St. Eve orders a soft knock, not a hard one.
We're not pointing 25mm gun barrels at mom and pop and stuff like that.
Providing no one attacks from the village.
Right.
Oberwert's battle plan. Before dawn, the combat team will move to staging areas to the east and south of Jandar. At first light, a platoon and tanks will sweep in to establish a cordon, separating most of the village from where they think the weapons are. At the same time, another platoon will head north and tie into the cordon. When the area is secure, engineers will move in and search for weapons. Big Brother's bad guys are ready. Armed with AK-47s. One role player has been coached to hide his face behind a woman's veil. Oberworth gives the command.
Okay, start moving.
Here they come.
Commander Office 1-9, my call signs are moving now from waiting area 1 and 2 on the objective. Over.
The trainers have coached some role players to ambush, others to escape.
Okay, they're stopping by the mosque.
Oberworth's men are riding high in their hatches.
You know, he shouldn't be up there like that.
A mistake the enemy sniper aims to exploit.
See if you can get a kill.
2 Force 1-9, get shoved back up to that feature, over.
The terrain is tricky. One of his platoons misjudges the ground, takes a wrong tack, and stalls, leaving the vehicles in front of them with no rear protection.
2 Force 1-9, get up here now, out.
Oberworth maneuvers his own vehicle to fill the gap, but his soldier's mistake destroys the momentum he's counting on. The enemy seizes its opportunity.
What? He's got a weapon. Well, engage.
That's where they are! Right there in front of you!
Reverse right. We're taking fire from somewhere.
Sir!
What?
Red Hill!
I can kill him.
Well, shoot him.
In the confusion, no one realizes Oberworth's right-hand man has been shot.
Get your heads down! I got capped!
I see him.
What the is that sound?
Sergeant Major Donovan's West Vest is ringing his death bell. He's the first man to go down, but not the last. To the north, the sniper sees his chance for a headshot. He gets his kill. The sniper's accomplice takes a bullet.
Critical wound!
Stuck in the south, Oberworth is still taking fire.
Get ready to fight, They haven't got any weapons, My side. There he is there. On that feature, let him have it. Go.
With one insurgent dead, one wounded and in hiding, the last fighter surrenders.
Put the weapon down!
In a 7-minute firefight, Oberworth has lost 2 men and a piece of his pride.
Want to take a knee and talk about it? Want to take a knee and talk about it?
He feels hamstrung by his boss's order to dial back the aggression.
If they believe that there's enemy there, then this has to be an attack. I mean, I didn't even have the authority to point my cannons at buildings. So I know I might sound a bit defensive right now, and I am kind of defending it in that I have to go on what I'm being told.
As part of this approach, I mean, you suffered 2 casualties, you can debate, but one stray shot could kill a guy. It only takes 1. Did you have to be hatches up?
No, I guess not.
Your hatches down. Okay, so I mean that's what I'm talking about.
The mission is off to a rocky start, and Oberworth still has to find and destroy that weapons cache.
Hands up! Make sure he's not the suicide bomber.
In the mock village of Jandar, the firefight is over. But Major Oberworth's men are still trying to locate the insurgent stash of weapons.
Guys, keep an eye to our rear, okay? Watch to the left and the right!
An ambush took out 2 of Oberworth's men, including his sergeant major.
Sakes.
Sergeant Major's been hit. Okay, be prepared to take over.
All right, sir.
They comb the area with metal detectors, hoping the hidden weapons will set them off. Then they find a cave in the side of the hill.
Hands up!
With a wounded enemy blocking the door.
Look for an ID around him.
I don't see anything.
Okay, keep going. Hands up! Make sure he's not a suicide bomber. Is he good? Take that gaze out. Keep going straight.
The enemy's not rigged with explosives. Now they have to make sure the cave isn't booby-trapped. Explosive ordnance experts will check it out.
Engineers! Start checking out the entrance to the cave!
Can you see in that tunnel? Yes! Keep a beat on it!
Soldiers need to clear everyone out of the area, including anyone who might be hiding in the building next door. Busting in is against orders. The building is empty. So engineers head into the cave. As far as Oberworth's concerned, the whole operation is taking too long.
Hey. Frustrating, eh?
Yeah, it is.
This whole thing's been frustrating.
Several locals have been detained. Oberworth wants to know what they know about hidden weapons. He sends a party to question them.
Assalamu alaikum. We heard tell that there was a large cache of explosives and weapons in the area. Have you heard anything about this cache of weapons?
There's a cave up on the hill.
Oh, yes.
And they told us to stay away from there, and that if we went near the cave, that they would kill us.
Inside the cave, engineers are discovering the enemy's secret. It's actually a bunker, a tunnel that leads to several rooms. The locals reveal something else. The person in the head covering is acting suspiciously.
What's up with the burqa?
He's playing a Taliban leader, disguised as a woman.
Could you come with me, please?
With instructions to melt into the crowd. It's taken 5 hours for any soldier to notice him. In Afghanistan, an oversight like this could be disastrous. Back at the bunker, they've hit pay dirt.
100 grades, we are going to continue to exploit.
Piece by piece, engineers are extracting weapons.
Again, we can go forward and just speak with the engineers briefly. You find anything in there? Or?
Yeah, we were getting a bit of a break here.
Okay, good.
So we pulled out 2 plastic bags.
Okay.
With what appears to be long-barreled weapons inside.
Okay.
And magazines.
So it does then now look like this is the cache?
No, definitely, sir.
Mission accomplished. But for Oberworth, it doesn't feel like much of a victory.
High point. The high point is we found the cache. Whoopee. There wasn't really a high point today. Kind of annoyed.
2 of his soldiers are dead. And an important enemy wasn't discovered until the end of the mission. Oberworth knows it's not his finest hour.
I should have managed that battle space better, and I'm still learning, sadly.
In the coming days, Major Oberworth will face his final test before Afghanistan.
Today is the last thing we're probably going to do together before we get into this for real.
His platoon in exile will reunite with the rest of Mike Company for a final assault. One last test.
Stack up, go!
To shape them as warriors.
Come on, fire!
10!
Before they head out to the real killing zone. That's next time on Combat School.